don't mind it. Because when I was out there in the streets and in the world, I did what I wanted to do. But when the Lord delivered me, when the Lord, sometimes I wonder if I'm talking to saved folks. We say when the Lord delivered me, my God, years ago, if you said that word, the house would go to rocking. Because we had a house full of sinners up in there that had gotten converted. My God. But when the Lord delivered me out of my mess, I told the Lord over 37 years ago, I said, Lord, I want to do a mighty work for you. And when I spoke them words, my godmother's already gone on home to be with the Lord. Me and my mother got saved a year apart. Mother Gates got saved in the Lord's year of 1970, and he got me in 71. And at that time when I spoke those words, my godmother laughed and she said, you want to do a mighty work, huh? I said, yes, I do. She said, well, you know it's going to call for a mighty suffering. But you know what my answer was to her? I said, well, suffering is just suffering. Look what I come out of. And I didn't have no God on my side. So if I suffer, I'd rather have Christ on my side to help me with my suffering than to be in my suffering and don't have God. So I yet held my testimony and my vow. I said, I want to do a mighty work. And I want you to know, I've been through it. I've been through it. Almost died. I ain't going to belabor it. Fell 3 stories to the ground. So when you say you're looking at a miracle, you better know you're looking at one. Jawbones were wired up, couldn't say a word. Stayed shackled in my mouth. Couldn't eat, couldn't chew. Everything had to be liquid form. And I had to suck it through a straw. But God held my mouth. And while I couldn't say nothing, he worked on my head. He got my attention. Yeah. And I had time to lay there and think about how close I almost slipped right into a devil's hell. But God stood between me and death and lifted up a standard against the enemy that was trying hard to take me out. I want you to know, we're going to get this on. Let me tell y'all something tonight. This is Saturday night. So glad the pastor wife said it's the devil's night. We said it in the world, but I want to let him know it's God's night now. Because I'm not over on that other side anymore. And I sure ain't walking straddle the fence. Don't know which side I want to be on. Want to hop and dance when the music is good. And when you go out the door, I'm trying to run to the honky-tonk. Don't know who you want to be with. But God had to work on me right through here. And when he got through talking with me, and I laid there for 2 months, flush just melting off of my frame. Sure didn't have to go to Jenny Craig then. Weight Watchers and all the other rest. I wanted to eat me something so bad. But I stayed in that fix. I'm talking to somebody. And after those 2 months was up and I went back for my checkup so the doctor could look at my jawbone to see if they were good and strong, because I couldn't move my jaws, they had to set. Because when I fell those 3 words, I fell face down. The girl in the next apartment, they tell me later, called my mother and said, "Oh, Miss Gates, hurry up and get here. Your daughter that fell out the window." Mother Gates reached up in that moment, and the Holy Ghost brought back to her remembrance what he had already told her prior to that incident. She was in her house. This was in San Francisco, California, cleaning that morning. And all of a sudden, the Holy Ghost came up in there while she was cleaning and said, "I'm going to save your daughter."
All right, come on now.
Mother tore that apartment up, praising God. When God told her that he was going to save her daughter, oh my God, the vacuum cleaner. Oh, you talk about running, skipping through that house and praising God. But he didn't tell her how he was going to do it. But he said, "I'm going to save her." He didn't tell her that I was going out of a window, but I'm going to save her. He didn't tell her that it looked like I was going to get out of here, but I'm going to save her. And when it happened, let me tell you what God did, and I'm going to move on. He left me just a fraction from being all the way knocked unconscious. And you know why? Because when the paramedics came, and I'm splattered on the concrete, they reached down and began to handle me, because they didn't know how much I might have been broken. Put me on the gurney and gently put me in the wagon. I call it the wagon. Start checking my pulse, vital signs, and calling in ahead to San Francisco General that they would have a physician to be on hand when I got there. And while the truck was rolling, I said, God kept me just a fraction from being knocked completely out. I cried, and I said a prayer that got the driver's attention. And I said, "Lord, please forgive me. Please forgive me. Bring me back. Lord, please have mercy. Forgive me. Because I had gotten saved. Went through some bad relationships. Got weak and just threw in the towel. But God didn't let me linger out there but for 1 year. And he brought me back quickly by almost going to a devil's hell. And from that day, when God got me up, that's when I made my mind up. I said, die, sink, or swim, come hell or high water. Hear me tonight, church folks. I said, it ain't worth fooling around just to keep an old man in the bed. Can I be real? Can I be real? Oh, some of y'all, oh my God, you act like I'm talking Greek to you. Some of y'all still slipping and dying, sliding. Need such a deliverance till it's pitiful.